Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and this guy, Ed Wallace. Where is he? He's right over there. Thank you for joining Ed from Iraq. We are two retired New York City police detectives with over 20 years of law enforcement experience. And if you like all things true crime related from the police perspective, please consider hitting the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you will get all things DutyRon. And here he is. He's right there. Ed Wallace. I'm poking him in the shoulder. Thank you for joining, Ed. How's it going over there in Iraq? Army training?
Yes, it's going good. It's going good, folks.
Everybody's concerned about you and your coughing. How you doing? I got you full screen. Can you talk to the audience so I don't have to answer the questions?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Everything is going good here, but I can't wait to come home on the 1st.
Yeah, we all miss you, and I'm sure your family misses you. You know, Mrs. Wallace and your boys, and everybody's missing you, and especially Kara. She misses you, and we know that. So, always great to have Ed Wallace. He's joining from Iraq, and again, things sometimes with modern technology, things sometimes freeze up, and I think he's in a frozen state. So I'm going to go full screen until I see him moving again. All right, he's back. All right, he's back.
Ron, hold on a second. Let me just take care of something. Take full screen, and I'll try to correct this situation.
Okay. All right, no problem. All right, so Ed Wallace, again, like I said, he is in Iraq and he is doing his stuff. Sometimes you're not getting the same type of things that you get here in the States. So he's going to do some correcting. I don't know if he's got a reboot or whatever he's got to do, but we're going to talk today to you guys about Kiely Rodni and her car. We're concerned, and there's been many, many messages and comments on DutyRon.com about, what are they doing and how could we be confident that they are able to properly investigate the accident investigation? Is this a competent authority? And Ed is going to come on when he's ready, when he gives me the thumbs up. I got him muted. Okay, I got the thumbs up. Ed is going to come on and he's going to tell us in no uncertain terms the steps from a crime scene unit investigator and from accident. And I think we used the acronym of AIS, Accident Investigation Squad, here in the NYPD with the Highway Division. And you heard them say that California Highway Patrol is going to be doing the accident investigation. Now, I think you and I both can agree, Ed, that we have a high probability that this is a straight out accident, alcohol and or drugs involved, dark night, driving, confusion, disoriented, her being disoriented, and then, simply going into the water and panicking. There's an extreme strong possibility that that's what we're looking at here. But we have people talking about a whole bunch of different hosts of other things. And I want you to, if you can, just as I show some footage, some raw footage, I'll put it on the screen as you're speaking, about what, the authorities would be doing in regards to the forensics on the vehicle.
Okie dokie. So, first things first. Once the car was once the car was discovered underwater, if they were able to see into the car from the outside of the car, because the car was upside down, hopefully somebody noted what the position of the gear shift was. Okay. I know that they use tow trucks to right the vehicle underwater and then pull it out of the lake. Okay. Now, it appears that there's some damage that was done to the vehicle in these efforts, okay, of getting the vehicle out of the lake, having it flip back over, wheels down, and then being yanked out. So once they get this out, now, unfortunately, she's still inside of it, and it appears that she was in the back of the vehicle based on how the vehicle was being treated and the covering up of the rear portion of the vehicle from view of the public. The vehicle and the decedent would be brought to a facility away from here, and then, or the medical death investigators could have taken custody of the body right here. I'm not sure what they chose to do. Given the publicity, given all the people that were there, and you want to be very respectful to the victim here. I'm not sure exactly what was done. It would seem to me that if they couldn't control this area from public view, it would be more appropriate to have the body removed at a secure facility. But again, as I said, it could have been done here and then taken directly to the medical examiner's office for preparation for the autopsy. The vehicle instead would then be routed to a forensic garage where the vehicle would be allowed to dry out. And then all aspects of the vehicle should then be looked at. Okay, airbags deployed, no airbags deployed. There was all kind of controversy about the windows. Were the windows up or windows down? Were the windows broken? So, I mean, that could be rectified easily by adventures with purpose, how they found the vehicle in their dive, were the windows up, and now did the windows get broken by the recovery efforts? And then you'd want to get the black box out of the vehicle. Okay. You want to see what data is stored on that black box: speed, lane departure, safety issues, any warnings about the conditions of the driving prior to it entering the lake. You driving in this location at night. I have seen a video online, and it's very dark there. There are no lights. It's a single road. And, when it's nighttime, the lake can't be seen as if it was daytime, where the blue sky then illuminates the lake and it can be seen. So I'm praying that this is just an accident and nothing more sinister. Now, getting back to the vehicle, we're going to look at those lights. Going to look at we'll see what type of lights, headlights she had. And if the bulbs blew when they hit the water, and we'll look at that kind of information. Again, we'll look at speed of travel, lane departure warning systems, safety, security systems that are on anything that may have activated on the car that would have been captured on the onboard computer. GPS locations, cell phone pings, any of those things will, to correlate what was going on with this vehicle at the time before it entered the water. So there's a lot of other things we can do. You want to look at the seatbelts. You want to see why the airbags did or did not deploy, and understand those aspects. You want to look at the fuse box and look at the fuses to see if they were blown by water intrusion or by other means. There's a lot of forensic work up between the accident investigators and the conventional forensics that can be done here.
Yeah. And this is what I'm showing on the screen, Ed, is there was a woman who went out to that location and she did a complete drive from the party, from the spot where everyone was gathered together and straight down to the water. And I'm going to go full screen with this and let the viewer see exactly how dark this is. I'm going to have the sound off because there's a lot of wind, but she actually gets out of her car. She drives right down the hill and straight to the water. She gets out of her car with a flashlight and then shows where the water is. And as you can see from this image, folks, you can see it is pitch black. You cannot see without those headlights on. And if you are impaired, which we're going to be going on the assumption that she was impaired based on the witness statements and things of that nature at that scene, this is what she's looking at. And this is the woman outside of her vehicle, or looking at it from her driver's side. I think she goes a little bit forward here. Yeah, she's actually out of her vehicle. And she walks up, and just beyond this point here is the water straight ahead, and you cannot see it. Ed, any thoughts on this one?
That's 100% accurate. I mean, between the mountains in the background and the dark sky at night, not illuminating the lake or causing a reflection off the lake, you're not going to see it. It's just going to look like a continuation of land until you hit it.
Yeah, and she shows the memorial that was set up there by local or family members, and you can actually see her feet walking. She's walking and talking. It's a lot of wind noise. That's why I'm not playing the audio. Let me just see.
Or, the morning of, the afternoon of, it would have been on what,
It's not
the
that
6th,
bad.
right? Or the 7th. Anyway, that Saturday, the day after the party, if they would have been able to see, anything here.
She's talking about tire tracks.
Now,
Yes.
this is a park.
Just on the,
Yes.
It's not a private park, right? It's owned by,
It's open to the public.
but is it a federal park or is it a state park?
I have heard that it's a federal park, but I'm not sure. I haven't done enough research in regards to that. But
The point I'm getting to is most government-run parks are closed after dusk.
yeah,
And who's policing this park? How are these people allowed to go in there at night?
yeah.
Yep, she's in the water.
not really sand, but just, fine dirt and some small stones.
And there's the memorial.
But if you want, we can just take a moment of silence for Kiely. And just pray that her family will have peace and closure. And they'll get the answers that they need. The spot. I had wondered if maybe they're going to make a memorial for her in town or something like that. What it may have been like.
I just want
The day after
to.
the party, if they would have, I don't know how well you can see, but there's, what the circumstances were.
So
Just
this is
right
her
towards the
pulling
end.
straight up.
I'll get as close as I can. Of course, I'm not going to drive, too far because I don't want to get stuck or anything. But so I'm going to stop right here. Okay.
The water's just
So
right.
if I kept going, it does go down. There's an incline. But right now, the way it is, I can tell there's water on either side, and that I'm getting close to the water's edge. Now, I don't know how familiar she was with this area, what the circumstances were, but I'm going to get out and we'll walk down there, okay? Let me grab my flashlight real quick. So you can see all around. Well, I don't know how well you can see, but there's water there. The campground is in that direction. All right, so we're going to head down.
So she was a distance. She used extreme caution and was careful and didn't bring her car right up to the water. Thank God. I was worried when I first watched that, but she gave it enough buffer for her to walk down, and that wasn't complete darkness. And you're looking at, just at dusk. I think it's like, just sun had just set, like within an hour. But as the night goes on, you're not going to have the light from the sun going down in the background on the horizon. So I think that, it's safe to say that you can't see in front of your face, very limited sight, line of sight. And if she had if she was intoxicated, as we are assuming, and there was any drugs in her system, which the medical examiners, I already reached out to Barbara Butcher, and we're going to see about getting her on, but I got to wait for Ed to be on U.S. soil before we can do that. So we'll do something with Barbara on this, and we'll talk about it. And Ed, hopefully you can reach out to Dr. Murray Marks and see what he's up to. We haven't heard from him in a while. Hopefully he can come on and give us a little bit of an idea. But Ed, so they pulled the vehicle out. You talk about the damage you and I spoke about, the side view mirror, the window broken out, all of this stuff? Do they do a reenactment of this thing? Do they do it on paper? How does that go with accident investigation? And just could you give everybody just a walkthrough of what you as a crime scene investigator would do with the inside of that vehicle? There was arguments about she was in the back seat. How did that happen? Things like that.
Okay, so they would have to look at any potential blunt force trauma injuries to the areas of her shoulder where the shoulder harness would be coming across to be belted in, and then of course her lap, to see if there were any indications that the seatbelts were on at the time of the impact, because it may have sustained some bruising because of the sudden stop in the forward momentum of inertia of the body into the seatbelt, and the seatbelt clamping down to keep that body from going any further forward. In addition, if the seatbelt, if the seatbelt was the seatbelt undone by her, and did she make attempts to get out of the vehicle? And if you could look at the interior of the windows to see if she was maybe pounding the windows with her fist, there might be evidence of that and marks there. Plus, there could be injuries on her hands that would be consistent with trying to break the window to get out of the vehicle. Then, again, if they're looking at potential drowning, they're going to, upon autopsy, one of the things they're going to do is to see if she was, in fact, has water in her lungs, because you typically don't get water in your lungs when you're dead. Okay. So if she was breathing at the time, then she drowns, the water then enters the lungs, and then she was alive at the time. She's found apparently in the back of the vehicle at the time the vehicle is being pulled out. It looks like it's apparent that she's in the back of the vehicle, and then that would have to be looked at to see how she did that. Again, as I spoke of earlier in the previous show, the weight of the vehicle is obviously in the front on the engine. And so when the car is going down, gravity takes over, the front tips down, the water starts filling up, and with gravity, the water seeks its low point. So it'll fill up from the front of the vehicle towards the back of the vehicle. And if she managed to get out of her seatbelt, and she was trying to break these windows, and obviously these electric windows, maybe they weren't working anymore because it shorted out. The car's engine is off. It's got no power. It's got no electric running. She made it to the back of the vehicle where maybe there was an air pocket for a short period of time until the vehicle's interior was fully filled with water.
Yeah, and those are all answers that will happen after they do their forensic examination of the vehicle, and that's done in a controlled environment. Like so many people ask, oh well, did they remove her at the scene? And I know you covered that briefly here, and you and I both spoke about that. But we'll get Barbara on to tell us definitively what's the proper protocol. And I believe that bringing her back to the medical examiner's office is the primary goal for them to do their work. Why does it take so long, Ed, for tox? Because that's another sticking point. Everyone's speaking about that. We're still waiting for Cassie Carli's report from the Huntsville, Alabama medical examiner's office. It's going on 4 or 5 months now. Why does that take so long, Ed?
I'm sorry, but in my opinion, there's no excuse for why it's taking this long. It should not take 4 or 5 months, even if it's a contracted laboratory. Because obviously these smaller jurisdictions, these coroner's office and medical examiner's office don't have their own in-house toxicology like certain other larger medical examiners and coroner's office do. So they contract out to these labs and they send the material out there, but it's inexcusable for 4 months. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I get it. Your lab is busy. You're running tests for all these different agencies. Okay. Well, if this is your business model and you're making money from this and you're a private lab, you need to expand.
Right.
Okay. Hire more lab personnel, hire more analysts, scientists to come and do these tests. And there's plenty of kids coming out of college with science degrees looking for work. I just don't get this.
What's a reasonable time, Ed?
Well, in my opinion,
Yeah.
if it's a large agency and it's in house, 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Avery says and sends in a super chat. Remember, Alabama can take a year. Why? Why would it take a year? I mean, we've heard from the get-go on this thing is that even Barbara said it. Remember, Ed? She said, yeah, they're notorious for taking their time. Tell that to a family that's waiting. I mean, Ray and Carly, we call her Ray, Cassie's sister, is twisted. She's beside herself because they don't have any answers. They don't know if Marcus Spanavello drugged her and killed her. And, you know, that's what we talked about, Ed, you and I. We spoke about it with her and without the sister here, that there's a potential in that case for him hitting her with something, some type of narcotic to put her out, and then traveling across state lines and then burying her in a shallow grave in Alabama in that barn. Mm-hmm. Terrible. Kiely Rodni, there was talk about alcohol and drugs at the party. People are in the chat talking about fentanyl. In your experience, because you worked in the medical examiner's office, what if, God forbid, there was fentanyl in her system or any type of drugs or alcohol? How difficult is it for them to, in somebody potentially in the water for 2 weeks? How difficult is that, Ed, to extract and get to the bottom of it?
You know, I'm not entirely sure, but you know, once it's metabolized and it's now in tissue, it should still be able to be detected. Okay. You know, fentanyl is very deadly. In fact, it should be classified around the world as a potential weapon of mass destruction, yeah, especially in powdered form. And, you know, we're losing 100,000 plus people every year to fentanyl deaths.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the largest killer by far of anything going on in this country. You know, you could talk about gun crime all you want. Fentanyl is killing 100,000 people a year in overdoses. It's being mixed in heroin. It's being mixed in cocaine. It's in tablet form. It's being mixed with all these other drugs. And these kids are buying this crap and it's killing them.
Terrible. And Minx, thank you for that question, because this is a great question right here coming in. Minx says, the major question, was she dead before she hit the water or did she drown? And Ed, I know you can answer that one.
I answered it previously. It's going to be found out at autopsy. If you died and then you're submerged in water, your lungs are not going to fill up. You have to be breathing in order to drown. Okay, unless someone, you know, manually shoves a hose down into your lungs and fills it with water. Okay, so it doesn't work that way.
All right, so I Ed just said it. If you are prior to going into that water, if she was deceased, you're telling us that water wouldn't still eventually seep down and get into her lungs?
No, it won't go there.
I know that, but I want people that are in the audience to hear it. Ed, could you just repeat that one more time for the audience, for the people in the back?
If you're dead and your respiratory system is not working, okay, typically you will not find evidence of drowning with water in your lungs.
Thank you.
It's the same thing if your body is found in a fire. Okay, if what killed you, was it the fire or did something else kill you? Well, how we know is we search your lungs, and if there are no soot or fire or smoke inhalation issues in your lungs, then you were dead before the fire, and the fire was probably done to cover up the death. Okay, and we check the nose area and the respiratory tract, and we see if there is soot being breathed in and out.
Right. Thank you, Ed, for that explanation. And Dr. Ed Moskowitz is here, who's a great friend of Crime Time with DutyRon. Ed and Julie, his wife, they send a thank you to both DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Always professional, platinum, and persevering. Ed?
Love you guys.
They're the best. Pocatello, Idaho, our family physicians. Dr. Ed is now officially the doctor for Crime Time with DutyRon. So there's no getting around it, Ed. You're now part of the family. There was another question in the chat that was a good one, and I don't know where it went.
I want to say hi to Phil Grimaldi from our buddies over there.
Yeah,
hi, Phil.
Police off the cuff. Police off the cuff.
Cuff.
Yeah, Phil is always chiming in the chat. He's a great guy, and we appreciate him. Let's look at some of the questions in the chat before we wrap this up. I'm just going to again play just to show you guys. And Ed, there was some question too before we get into the chat and talking to people. There was a question about this right here. I'm going to go full screen, and I know you can hear me still and everything. The car here, as it's being pulled out, and I hate to keep rehashing this, but there was question about here where you see my cursor. It's just covering the back area in the back seat. Now I know you scathed on it earlier. You touched on it. For folks joining late, and it happens during the course of our lives. People come in and then they ask questions. Why in this situation would they have it? It was fully covered because now a helicopter hovering can look through the front windshield, look through the side. But as it was coming out, they tarped the back. Any thoughts on that? And why would she be in the back?
Again, as I said earlier, so as the car is going down, it's going nose first because of gravity. The weight of the engine is going to pull it straight down. Okay, and if she was alive and she got out of her seatbelt, if she was wearing a seatbelt, or even if she wasn't, maybe she was unconscious, okay, and she wasn't wearing a seatbelt, then the water, as it was entering the vehicle from the front of the vehicle to the back of the vehicle, would have taken her body to the back, or she went back there because there was an air bubble back there. Again, a thorough examination of the interior of the vehicle, seeing if she attempted to open the doors or trying to smash the window with her hands, seeing if she has any injuries to her hands consistent with that, any nails broken, anything like that, that could tell us that she was potentially in the vehicle and fighting to try to get out of the vehicle. And then you also see the 3 privacy shields. You see at the edge of the water there on the left-hand side of the vehicle, you see 3 black privacy shields. So, based upon that, I tend to think now that they may have, and they have a pop-up tent there with looks like an ambulance behind it. So maybe they did remove her here at the scene and transported her directly to the medical examiner's office.
Yeah, and I think that's what we saw there's some more footage that it shows she goes in through where my cursor is here. This tent, they bring her up through here through this opening and then open the back door of that. It looks like an ambulance there. Probably bring her straight to the medical examiner's office from there. Thank you for that explanation, Ed. Because,
but there's also going to be some other. She's in the water 14 hours, 14 days rather. So there could be some what we call adipoceo. Adipoceo is what we call also Graves' wax, where the skin will turn into a waxy, soapy substance because it's submerged in water. Now, if the windows weren't broken, then any indigenous fish life there could not get in to get at her. But that's not to say that any parasitic forms of life could have gotten into her and let nature take over.
Right. Yeah, and those are all questions that will be answered during the forensic examination. And do they have those answers at this time? Yeah. Do they have those answers at this time? Maybe. We don't know. So let's say hello to some of the folks in the chat, because there are some really good questions coming on, and I'm going to leave this playing. Ed, take a drink. Ed is in Iraq. Ed Wallace, retired crime scene unit investigator. 15 years in the NYPD and crime scene unit alone. He's investigated, and he's going to correct me, over 2,656 crime scenes. This is according to my notes from early on when I first met Ed. And he knows his stuff when it comes to this type of investigation. And, you know, without these answers, we have a lot of questions that will turn into theories and turn into guesswork. It's always good to discuss questions, answers, theories, things of that nature. But when it comes down to it, the answers are going to happen in the lab. The answers are going to happen with the examination team, a forensic anthropologist if needed, a forensic odontologist, a dentist will be called in if needed. Any other specialty folks would be called in on this one, Ed, with the water rescue recovery?
Well, not really at this point. I mean, I don't think there'd be a need for an anthropologist or anything like that.
Okay.
DNA samples and odontology very quickly could identify her. Depending on the condition of her skin, if adiposia set in, there might be difficulty getting fingerprint identification.
Right.
From the friction ridges being damaged by that. Hey, Tim, what's going on? Tim Acosta writes, wondering if she had her cell phone with her and if it hit off the closest tower. Yes, Tim, yeah. You know, the digital forensic footprint is going to be huge here.
And I believe, not to cut you off, I believe that that cell phone did ping not far from a cell tower close to this location. It was the last known ping. And that's why people have these questions for the team that was brought in to search the process family campground and the lake. They searched it, and they said they searched it extensively with side scanning sonar. And I have a video of the dive team in the water, and they spent quite a bit of time there, 7 days prior to Adventures with Purpose showing up on the set. And they told Adventures with Purpose, and this is coming from them, not my words, but Adventures with Purpose words, is that they told them this is clear. You don't need to search here, but they said we're going to give it a go around. And 38 minutes later, they got a hit on a piece of metal. They sent their magnet down. The magnet stuck, and here we are. I mean, this is a great pull-out view right there. Let me go back to it because that was pretty. I didn't watch this all the way to the end, but that was pretty cool. Gives you a look at how big this was, and you know, I say to myself, how did they know to actually exactly go to that area? But I think that was an area of interest, and they went in there and they did their business. So hats off to Adventures with Purpose and everybody who's investigated this. Ed, I know you got limited time and you're you got stuff going on. Let's look to the chat because I promised that I would look to the chat. I'm going to do one more thing with the super chat. Vet Girl says, if a crime is suspected, would there be more divers in the water and at the party site looking for more evidence, or would they wait? Thanks, please, and thanks. That's a good one, Ed. You want to take that?
Well, I mean, if there were obvious signs of blunt force trauma, other than that could be accounted for by an accident, or if there were stab wounds, gunshot wounds, signs of manual strangulation or anything like that, well, then obviously that would take this in a different direction. And there would be more searches for evidence associated with the cause and manner of her death.
Yes. Thank you for that. And we're going to look, and thank you, Vet Girl, for always sending in great questions. Stace on the case says, I feel, Dave Turley says, at Stace on case, I feel that burning would be the worst. They say drowning is not that painful. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Ed? You were in the crime scene unit for a long time. That's just probably an opinion.
It's not, I mean, pain-wise, it's not that painful, as painful as burning alive, but they're both horrific ways of dying. And look, I mean, the psychological effect of knowing that you are drowning and you're going to die.
Right.
I mean, either way, it's just like, you know, when we're talking about Gabby Petito being strangled to death by her fiance, and she's going unconscious, knowing that her fiance is killing her. It's horrific.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's your worst nightmare. You don't wish this on your worst enemy. I feel strongly that this is going to turn out to be more, percentage-wise, if I had to guess with it, a horrible accident with drugs and or alcohol involved. We know for a fact that there was underage drinking going on at that party, and you put a vehicle with drinking is never a good thing. Like
And a minor.
and a minor who has limited experience in driving.
Right.
So
Well, that's why I was asking before, who is the legitimate owner of this property? And one of our viewers put in the post that it's a federal property.
Right.
And if that being the case, then why aren't the feds more heavily involved in this? And why isn't this being policed by a federal entity to keep people out of this park or campsite after dusk?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I said that, I asked people privately and on DutyRon.com, I said, if this is something that happened on an annual basis, it sounds like to me from locals there that this end of summer party, going back to school kind of thing is an annual occurrence. It should have been a detail. It should have been a special post for the forest, the U.S. Park Police or whoever polices that property, and or the local police department. Because if you have reoccurring underage drinking parties that are happening here, shame on you for letting that go. If this was just a pop-up one-time thing, then I could see. But why wasn't someone dispatched there? If you have 300, it's been alleged that 300 young kids were out there drinking. Those are 300 possibilities, 300 possible Kiely Rodnis to happen, whether it's in the water or an accident. People die from car accidents and drinking at an unbelievable rate. Ed, what do you see? You see anything?
No, but back when I was a teenager here in New York City, well, I'm in Iraq, but in New York City, but we were allowed to drink at 18. Okay, so many high school students were of age while in high school, and there were several city parks where we lived, and they weren't locked down at night to keep people from driving into the park. And I don't know if you guys remember this term, but we used to have kegers in the park. Okay, yeah. But inevitably, the police would show up and confiscate all this stuff, issue citations and summonses. If some people get arrested, others are just told, get out of here. And they chase you out of the park. Yeah. Okay. Until later on, they started putting gates and locks to inhibit people from entering with a vehicle and throwing these, 100, 300 person kegger parties.
Yeah, it's a common occurrence, and again, the statistics that are out there, and if we looked at those statistics, it would be earth-shattering to people. Mm-hmm. The amount of young underage drinkers that die from either operating a motor vehicle or being hit by one or drowning, or all of the above. One of my son's friends in high school died from alcohol poisoning. He drank too much and threw up and then drowned in his own throw up. And it was determined that he was, a gazillion times over the legal limit. And the kid was an athlete too. But he was at a party and he was drinking underage. So these numbers are staggering of what happens. But it is up to the local authorities to police their area, and federal. And, there's probably a lot of, hey, shame on yous here. But at the end of the day, it's up to them to figure it out. Hey, there's still chat in the live chat, Ed, about the broken window. They say Adventures with Purpose would never break a window out. I know from seeing their videos, they don't do that. They go down, right. They look at the plate, they grab the plate, they bring it up, they look inside. They might wipe the window to see if there's a remains inside. They come up, make the notification. Talk about how that possibly could happen, Ed.
Well, first of all, Adventure with Purpose knows the exact condition of the vehicle's windows at the time that they dove on that vehicle and found it. So right. That controversy should be put to rest.
Squash.
Okay, right. They know what happened. My guess is, and okay, because I haven't heard them speak on it, that those windows and the damage that occurred to the driver's door mirror and the side of the driver's door occurred when the other divers came with the tow truck to right the vehicle, okay, because it was on its roof,
Right.
upside down, and so they might have broke those windows, maybe accidentally, or
Yeah, I think when they flipped it in the water, because you
Yeah.
don't have eyes in the water, and the thing gets flipped, and it was probably flipped by tow ropes from another boat. We didn't see all of that, or however they did it. It's not a gentle process. So the side mirror broke, and maybe they hit a rock down below. We don't know, but we did see shards of glass out on the corner of the driver's side window. Yeah, and it's 3 hearts for me. I love that screen name. It's 3 hearts for me. Says it probably broke when flipping. You're probably right. You're probably right.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, there's ways of doing things, and there's certain equipment, but obviously it appears they didn't have the type of equipment that could inflate and then raise the vehicle off the bed of the lake and then flipped the vehicle that way. But it looks like they just used a bunch of tow trucks and chains and hooks and flipped it that way.
Yep. Yeah, and listen, Investors with Purpose is top-notch, professional. They do everything the right way. They, like Ed said, they were interviewed by responding authorities once they made the call, and they came out there. Hey, what did a full interview is documented and done. There's no need for them to tell anything. They won't tell anything, because until this is deemed not to be a criminal investigation, it is in the police, in our minds as investigators. It's a criminal and an active investigation until we can prove it's not. So once and for all, when that does finally happen, there you may or may not hear more details about it. But at the end of the day, it's important that they get to the bottom of it. And there's question, Ed, and rightfully so. How can we trust the local authorities there when they missed her in the water? You want to just talk a little bit about that? I feel that that's a little over the top, but it is a legitimate question, Ed. I mean, you can't fight that.
Well, listen, despite my best efforts at crime scenes, I've missed things, and I've frustrated walking away knowing I couldn't account for all the evidence, especially when we had information about how many gunshots were fired, and I can't account for all the gunshots. I can't account for all the cartridge cases or the bullets and everything. And it's so frustrating, despite your best efforts, sometimes you miss things. We're human. Okay. I'm not gonna trash this police department or any of the officers that were there and honest and trying to do the right thing and search these areas and didn't see it. We weren't there. It's not fair of us to comment like that. I mean, we don't know what the conditions were when they did the search and what they saw, what they couldn't see. Sometimes lakes conditions change, and it's clear one day and it's murky the next day. Like here, diving in New York City waters, you dive by braille. You can't see your hand in front of your face. Yeah. I would never want to dive in New York Harbor. God bless the NYPD divers and the FDNY divers, because I would never dive in that water. Okay. Right. You cannot see your hand in front of your face. And it's so filled with hazardous items, debris that is just floating in here. You can easily get killed in these types of waters.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to just say this too. I've made many DWI arrests in my time while I was on patrol. It was unfortunately a common occurrence in the areas that I work. Shannon, thank you for that super chat. She talks about the back window being rolled down. And it's going to bring me to my next point, is that in my DWI arrests that I've made over my time, a lot of the folks who I've arrested have had their windows rolled down, and they said they were trying to get fresh air to wake themselves up. It's the same concept of drink a cup of coffee before you go and leave the party. You'll be all right. That doesn't work. Windows to getting air in is just like a desperate attempt at someone who's operating a motor vehicle drunk it could be that she put those windows down herself. We don't know. None of us have a crystal ball where we can make that prediction. So at the end of it all, that's my experience with DWI. People who get behind the wheel of the car, they try to drink coffee, they put mints in their mouth, they chew bubble gum, they roll the windows down to get fresh air. They think the fresh air is going to wake them up. But once you're intoxicated, you're intoxicated. And until your body filters that out, you're drunk, and you're
the only thing to straighten that out is tons and tons and tons of fluid.
On time.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we can't say enough good about these volunteer search groups: EquiSearch, Midwest, Adventures with Purpose, Doug, and Jacob from Chaos Divers, and there's so many. So I just want to say thank you to the moderators, the new subscribers, and new channel members. If you're new and first time watching Ed and I, please put a 1 in the chat, or just tell us that you're new. If you're not yet subscribed, and everyone that's here, if you can, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button on the video. If you can thumb it up, that actually helps us with the algorithm. So if you can, everybody take a time to put a thumbs up. Did you see anything in the chat, Ed? Because we're getting ready to wrap.
I just saw something about it. Had we ever worked with some bad cops or FBI agents? And unfortunately, in a law enforcement agency at the time that I was there and Ron was there, we had up to, at one point in time, 42,000 sworn uniformed police officers. Yeah, I worked with cops that later turned out to have been bad cops and got arrested in the precinct that I started my career off in. Okay, yeah, it happens, and my wife, same thing, and her precinct, they had some bad apples, and it was a time of drugs and money and a lot of corruption. Have you ever seen Buddy Boys or the television show on Showtime about the 7-5 precinct back in the 80s and then going into the 90s when we had the crack wars and the crack pandemic or whatever you want to call it.
Epidemic.
Yeah, epidemic, yeah. It was crazy times.
Yeah, I mean, there was good and bad everywhere. And I want to just say thank you to everybody who understands that the good outweighs the bad. In every profession, you're going to have people who have, bad intentions. And there's going to be bad actors in every walk of life, no matter what you do. You have contractors that try to, tell you that you need this work done on your home, or you're a mechanic that tells you your brakes and your rotors are shot. Meanwhile, you just need brakes. So
yeah,
we're going to see this in every profession. Mm-hmm. Listen, as soon as we get to, we're at 460 thumbs up. As soon as we get to over 500, I'm going to gift out a couple of memberships and then we'll wrap it up. So there's 1,135 people in the chat. We're only at 465 thumbs up. Let's get it over 500. I'd like to see it close to 1,000 because we have 1,000 people here, and there should be no reason why we shouldn't have 1,000 thumbs up. As soon as we get that, Ed and I are going to gift out, and Ed's going to do it straight from Iraq. We're going to gift 10 memberships. Why not?
All right.
Well, so let's get the thumbs up going. We're over 500 now. But again, we have over 1,100 people here. There's no reason why there shouldn't be 1,000 thumbs up. So everybody that's here watching, go onto your YouTube app and make sure you're signed into your account. Give the stream a thumbs up. And when we get close, we will gift out some of the memberships. Make sure you're subscribed first. Subscribe to the channel. So this way you get a chance to get a membership. If you're not subscribed, you're not going to be able to get the membership. So hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. And as soon as Ed tells me, I will hit the button. If my credit card goes through, we have a win of 10 memberships.
Hey, folks, I just want to clarify something. You stop being a cop the moment you break the law, even if you're not caught at that time. And it later comes out that, once you stop breaking the law, you're no longer a cop. I don't care if you're wearing a uniform and badge and a gun. From the moment you break that law, you are no longer a cop. Okay, you're a criminal. You're just a criminal that hasn't been caught yet.
110%. Yeah, I agree. wholeheartedly. We went through this with Vicky White, right? Ed, Vicky and Casey White. Remember, there was a lot of people like, "Hey, you're being really harsh on her." She did die, she did kill herself, but once she broke, once Vicky White broke Casey White out of the prison in Alabama, she became a criminal, and that's a fact.
That's right. Well, even before that, the mere conspiracy and planning of it, she turned into a criminal planning it.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, again, 1,100 people here in the live stream. We're going to wait till we hit 1,000 on the thumbs up. We're almost there. We're at 600 and something. But I promised that 500 that I was going to give 10, and we'll do another 10 after we hit that 1,000. So here we go. Ed and I are a man of our word. Ed, when you say go, I'm going to hit the button. My finger is on the red button.
Ready, set, go.
Bingo. My credit card is processing. The wheel is spinning, and we have gifted memberships. There they are. Bingo. Look at that. No hands. Who is going to be the winner of 10 memberships? At 1,000 thumbs up, we'll do another 10, and then we'll end it. Let's see who got it. Why is it so delayed, Ed?
I don't know. I'm in Iraq.
How long do you think the tox report will come back on this Kiely Rodni? It's California, state of California. They got a pretty decent crime lab there. What's your thoughts on the time frame? They said 4 to 6 weeks.
I heard the parents are objecting to any of that information being released. I don't know what the California law is on that. If they have standing, I don't know, but we may never get it.
If it's a criminal investigation and somebody is brought to justice on this, we'll see that at a trial, obviously.
If there is a criminal investigation here, but if it turns out to be, like, remember the cause and manner of death, right? And it could be accidental, all right? And in this case, if there are drugs and alcohol involved, there's a high probability of it being accidental.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if they find foul play, that's another story.
That's a whole nother story. And when we get to that, we will have that conversation. All right. Kathy Corbett has been gifted a membership by Ed Wallace and DutyRon. Let's see. Where's the rest of them? They just slipped away from me. Gojo, I like that screen name, was gifted a membership by DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Sylvia Durham gifted a membership. Mizarella C was gifted a membership. Let's see. They're coming up slowly. Ed, what do you got?
Stace on a Case asked me a question. He says, Ed, do you eat a lot of bacon over there? And she says, I know it's a crazy question. And they can't keep bacon in here. I'll just tell you that much. I've been here now going on my 3rd week, and they only had bacon for a couple of days out of the 3 weeks that I'm going on here.
Yeah, so that's a religious thing, right, for them over there? I don't think.
Well, we're on technically American soil. I mean, we can get the bacon into the consulate.
Smuggle it in?
No, not smuggle it. It's shipped in with the food here that delivered to the consulate. And I mean, there's alcohol here. There's bacon and pork products. It's not prohibited on the consulate grounds. Outside of the consulate, there are religious issues with pork products and alcohol and tobacco, but it's not that kind of place here.
Gotcha. All right, we're going to ask you about gunfire in a few, if you can answer that. Cam was gifted a membership. Diane Ellis was gifted a membership, and I think that's all 10 of them right there. So welcome to the 10 members. It doesn't look like we're going to get to 1,000 thumbs up. Suzanne Truesdale was also gifted a membership. Miss Donna Marie is here, one of my favorite friends in communication. She communicates with me, I think, the most out of all of Crime Time with DutyRon. Folks, yeah, we're at 695. I don't think we'll hit that 1,000. If we do hit 1,000 thumbs up, I'll give away another 10. But we're going to get ready to wrap it up. Ed, what's the story? You hearing gunfire there? Are there incoming mortar shells? I have a picture of you. I don't want to even show it, but you shared a picture of me with a ballistic helmet and a vest on. Ed Wallace.
No, we have safety drills. That's all. We have safety drills. In fact, I was on the phone with my wife earlier today when one of the drills started, and it was a duck and cover drill, and the alarms were going off, and they're saying incoming, duck and cover, stay away from the window. Stuff like that happens.
Oh, hell no!
Let me go get my helmet and vest.
Yeah, hold on, incoming.
No, it's not that. It's not that kind of incoming.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that. I don't have a bomb explosion, but we don't listen. We hope that you never hear that while you're there, and you're coming home soon. Everybody here is wishing you health and safety and all of the above. Do you have to travel outside of the American consulate there to do your teaching, or are you staying on that compound?
Oh no, I have to go to another compound.
So there is a route that you go, and you have. I mean, obviously, we don't want to get into that, but you do. There is a daily back and forth that you have to go riding like a convoy style military thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be prudent of me to speak on these issues, so I'm just going to leave that alone.
I'm not asking you for details, but I'm just saying be careful. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I'm being careful. We're well taken care of here. Trust me.
Yeah, as long as you have access to a 50 cal, I'm good. I feel very comfortable with that. All right, guys. Listen, this was our coverage on the recovery of the vehicle in the Kiely Rodni case. It's a painstaking process that takes a long time. And again, like Ed said, according to the laws and the wishes of the family, I'm not sure if freedom of information requires the state of California to give out that information. She is a minor, 16 years old. So all of this, they're going to go by the letter of the law. Whatever that letter of that law is what they'll follow. And we got to respect it. Again, there is a loss here for the Rodney family, and you have her mom, Lindsay, and her dad, and the grandparents, and they're all in mourning right now. So the more conversations that are had about this and the more speculation, the more it kind of, for them, I know they're not looking at YouTube, and they're not looking probably at the internet. Right now, they're concentrating on, some funeral services for their daughter when they get to that point, when they are, when they release her remains back over. And Ed, because everyone's curious, how long would that process take?
It's tough to say, depending on, I don't know.
At what point will they release? When everything is complete?
No. If they took their samples for, tox, they probably could release if they have a preliminary cause and manner of death, and it's non, homicide. They probably could release.
Yeah, and only then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's a question that's coming up. That's a question that comes up now quite often. So it is what it is, and we're gonna have to just sit and wait. What just came through? Was that something from Angela? And
A little like Angie Ng.
Ange, she's
All
begging.
right.
DutyRon, throwing a few more memberships on me. Whoa!
Look at that.
$100 worth. Holy sweet
Okay.
mother of Jesus! Wow, that shot's fired by her. All
How
right.
long are you out, Angela? Because we just got a cost of living increase for us older cops.
Exactly. All right, $100.
Yeah.
It came in from Ange. If you guys were at 741 thumbs up, wow. All right, here we go. Let's see how much that buys, and let's see if my credit card goes through. Ed, what's your thought? Do you think my credit card's going to go through for $100 worth of memberships? That's 20.
That's awesome. What happened to you? Remember when we used to have the display and the names would come through, and we need to get that back.
But I see it on my separate monitor. StreamYards doesn't tell us it, but on the regular YouTube app, it shows it. 750 thumbs up. Yeah, I want to see it, and I have to look at my secondary device. to see it. All right, 20 memberships courtesy of Angela Inc. She is throwing money like it's fire out at everybody. She's just
That's it. This girl is on fire.
there. You go,
There you
Ed.
go.
Ed,
And you say in Cantonese, we'll say "dochene," which means thank you to Angela Ing.
Dochene. All right,
Dochene.
I got it. All right, here we go. Courtesy of Ange, $99 coming out. 20 memberships. Holy sweet mother of Jesus. There it is. Just says DutyRon gifted 20 memberships. You have to look at a separate chat to see that. That's why I'm looking to the right here. 20. So nice. Let's see who gets them. Ed, I promised you under an hour, and here we are at an hour. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, brother. All right.
I'm going to put the overtime slip in.
Yeah, I'll sign it. We'll have Lieutenant Pete Pranzo sign it.
Where's Lieutenant Pete?
We did it members only before we went live here publicly. And in the members only, Pete and Richella showed their porch in on the Long Island Sound, and they live right on the beach on the water.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they came live with us, and they're living the dream over there. Oh my goodness!
I remember when they did the happy birthday for you, and she was like, "It's cold. Let's get out of here."
That was very funny. I love that. All right, so
classic.
It's so classic. We got to replay that every once in a while. Who wants a free membership? Put it in the chat. Just say me, and we'll get it going. 771 thumbs up. 1,000 people still watching the live. They're here they come. So it's dribbling out now. Gigi was gifted a membership by Ed and DutyRon and Angela. Who else? There's a lot of me's in the chat. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. It's going crazy right now. Look how fast this chat's going. Whew. Me. So there's a lot of people that want to have the chat. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you are thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, and you got a chance to become a free member. So there you have it. I think we did our good deed for a Sunday. If you haven't yet subscribed to this community, please, Ed and I, we are not begging you, but we're asking you. Please become a subscriber of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, where you will get educational live streams and information from both of us. Ed and I, again, we have a lot of experience, and these memberships are just keep dribbling out one at a time. I don't know why it takes goes so slow.
And this is a no jagaloon zone.
Yeah, let me get the sign. Hold on, Ed. Just stay there. Entertain while I get the sign.
What do we want to do? Tap dance?
No, yeah. Danny Sprague, by the way, was at my mom's funeral, and he played the bagpipes. What a great job! What a great job! Yeah, what a great job Danny did at my mom's funeral. He stood in the street when we left with the limos and her remains to go to the cemetery. He stood in the street and played as we drove out of the out of the church. So
what did he play? Did he play Amazing Grace and Going Home?
All of it. Yeah, he did the whole ensemble. Yeah, he was great. He played when we were going into the church, and then on our way out. And he's just amazing. So
I had the pipers at my wedding 33 years ago, and then at my 50th birthday, my wife threw me a surprise party, and I had the NYPD pipers there, and that was awesome.
Nice,
great bunch of guys. Love you guys.
Oh, love the pipers. Love all the guys in the
Kevin McCarthy and Brian, all you guys. I love you guys.
Yeah, great people. All right, here comes some of the memberships that were gifted out. Let me read them out. Congratulations to all of the new members coming in. This chat's just moving so fast. I missed some of them. Here we go. Toad was gifted a membership. Who else? Me Too. There's several memberships coming out. They just went by so fast. So thank you, Ange, for your generous donation of the $100 for all of those members. Box Seats says DutyRon is my favorite channel. Thank you, Box Seats. I hope one day you can maybe there's a picture of Citi Field in the Box Seats. Hopefully you can take me to a game one day. I'll buy the drinks and the food. It'll probably wind up costing you more than the tickets. But Box Seats, come up with the tickets. I'll buy the food and drinks, and me and Ed will hang out with you. What do you think, Ed?
Sounds like the plan.
All right, Box Seats, you've been called out. Anybody else? Ed has a lovely, what is this? A lovely voice when he's singing. Sherry, don't encourage him. Sherry, come on now.
They have karaoke twice a week here in back in Iraq. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eddie,
There's a lot of.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there's a lot of Filipino workers here, and at the two of the restaurants, and each of those restaurants have karaoke night.
Yeah. Wow. Did you participate in any of that?
Always.
Yeah. There you go. So this is a good question. This person is sucking us back in. Why are there no road signs markings for the end of the road or water ahead? Some markings at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And why isn't the entrance blocked off? I mean, there's a lot of whys here. Somebody needs to answer out to. Okay. You shouldn't have 300 kids in this park at night when it should be closed, underage drinking and drugs going on. Sorry, it should not be allowed this day and age.
Yeah. Ed, I think you got a new fan, Cherry Metha. She says, I want to hear more of Ed singing. We'd have to do a special live just for that. Maybe on a members only, we'll do it. So a lot of people would love to be members, but Ed, yeah, man, I say there should be no access. There should be a gate there on that road. Like, like at a dead end, there's the dead end with the metal or whatever, blockers so you can't get in there, or a gate of some sort. If she would have crashed into a gate, maybe that would have woke her up. I'm just again speculating that she was, in a state where she was not aware of what was going on or that drunk. Again, there's many mysteries. There's many unanswered questions here in this case, and we'll only hear it if and when it gets released. Karen Gann says Ed Wallace singing hour. All right, listen, boys and girls, we're going to end this. 818 thumbs up and a bunch of you all coming in with great questions. I'm asking you, please leave us questions down below in the comments section. Ask us questions. Please, we love to engage you guys, and that's a great way to have a conversation after the live is over. Kathy Corbett says, go back and read what I said about the camp hosts in the comments. I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed it. What did she say, Ed?
Was she saying about the federal property and so forth? I might have missed it too.
Kathy, could you put it again in the chat? And I will. I'm looking for it. So let me go to the chat. Put it in there again. And thank you to Angela Ng for the super chat donation of channel memberships. Angela and Joe are some of the most generous people. So it is really, really awesome that they do this. Let's Go Mets is coming in. Box Seats is coming in with a Let's Go Mets. I'm assuming he or she is a Mets fan.
I want a Subway series.
Yeah, me too. And I want to beat the Yankees badly. Question. If an
old lady comes face to face with a robber and he has
a heart attack,
is it a homicide or a natural cause? Who has the heart attack? The robber?
Yes.
Okay. If an old lady comes face to face, I have seen cases like that where somebody was scared to death by a criminal and they were criminally charged with that person's death. It has happened.
Right.
Okay. So again, it's going to go to a grand jury if there's an indictment, and then it's going to go to trial. But it's interesting, it has happened from time to time. And then you've had people who've been, injured or shot or whatever, and then 5 years later or 10 years later, that injury they sustained caused their death. Well, the homicide starts at that point.
Right. So Kathy Corbett, I don't know. They have 2 consecutive days off and can't be involved in police activities. I'm not sure. I guess I'm missing. Just send me an email. Send it to DutyRon.com because there's just too many things going on here in the chat. Somebody asked about cell phone pings, Ed. I know that this is a computer crimes thing, but
yeah, Tim Acosta mentioned it as well in the chat. I mean, they should be able to have pinged her phone from any of the towers nearby around that time. And if there are multiple towers, then obviously that's better. They can triangulate and fix her position.
Right. Yeah. And that's all done with computer forensics, computer crimes. Those folks, FBI is also supplementing in this investigation, and they will give whatever resources that they have in an investigatory capacity to help figure out what's going on. I wouldn't really listen to what people are saying on the internet, because you're going to hear a lot of jagaloonish hogwash. But if her phone pinged and it was on before she went in the water with it, and then once the phone dies, in other words, battery's dead or shut off or underwater, and it's deemed dead, it's not going to be able to send out a signal to ping. To ping, you need to have a transmission from the device.
Yeah.
If the device is not transmitting and you smash it and it dies, when the battery's disconnected and the power source is down, there's no backup power source. It's not like a black box. It's not going to continue to ping if there's no power source to it, and that's common sense science.
Right. And if it's underwater, it's not going to be able to ping because the electronic signal is not going to be coming out.
Right. Now, carry a subpoena to T-Mobile, Verizon, or whatever the carrier is there. That is probably already done, and they're probably their law enforcement communication. There's the special communication in every major carrier has a law enforcement liaison, and it's a special email. I used to have it when I worked in warrants, where we can communicate with the carriers direct and make requests and go through the legal process, and it's all set. It's ready to go, and all they need to do is have signatures, go through the process, and put it in, and then the weight is there, and they'll get everything right down to her last text messages or phone calls that she made. So I know
there's a question here. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. It's I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So it is what it is. I don't have a chance to look at like a lot of YouTube videos. Like here, someone just said, "Hey, did you see the video of Wild Your Turns?" No, I didn't. Send it to me. Send it to me on DutyRon.com. The little bit of time that I get to do these videos and sit down with you guys here I dedicate the time to you guys. So I'm not able, and I know Ed is not able to just peruse YouTube videos. I wish that I could. If I wasn't working full time, I would definitely be perusing those videos, but I don't have the time to do it. So I'm sorry about that, but no, I didn't see it. Mountain kayaker. I camp and paddleboard at Prosser. I won't drive on those roads near the lake at night. It's too risky. And that mountain kayaker is probably when you're straight and sober. Think about if you throw some alcohol into the thing. And I'm not saying that you would do that, but it's alleged that she was at a party and drinking, and her friend Sammy said that she was intoxicated. So it is what it is when you throw in that, and that's the big problem right there.
Well, here's the issue I have with that statement you just made. Friends don't let other friends drive intoxicated.
Bingo. Yahtzee.
Okay, that's not a friend. If you said you were a friend and you saw your intoxicated friend get in the car and you didn't stop them, you're not a friend.
That is 100%. 100%. All right, let's wrap it up, Ed. I know it's getting late for you. You got to get up in the morning. You got work. So do I. I'm having surgery on Thursday. You're traveling back on Thursday. Mm-hmm. We'll talk before then, but I want to just say thank you to you for taking out the time. Ed is in Iraq, and he's doing Army training. Well, he's actually training people, so he's teaching over there.
Army training, sir.
Yeah, Army training. I want to say a special thank you to the replay viewers and everyone who watches these and all of our informative live streams. I hope you got something out of it. If you need to ask us questions after the live is over, please put them down below in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe. Ed, any parting words for the audience?
Well, as always, stay safe, stay prepared, and watch your six.
That never gets old. I love it. And as I always like to say, God bless the world, God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of us here in the chat. but especially all victims of crime and their family. We give them strength, prayers, and positive vibes. The Kiely Rodni family and her extended family. And we also send strength and positive vibes to Ed Wallace for a safe trip home. And when you come home, Ed, no more traveling to Iraq for you. I have to approve these out of the United States trips. Me and your wife have already been talking behind the scenes. You're
Oh
not
boy.
anymore. You need to stay on U.S. soil, for crying out loud.
I got one more trip this year.
Oh, shit.
Well,
Hold on.
not here, not to Iraq.
Oh, hell no.
You stay home, boy. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good Sunday, and we'll talk soon. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, guys. Love you.
Take care.